Hello and welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Sexy Stan's Calcium Chloride Ice Melt. Hey baby, you know it's about to get real chilly outside, and when that happens, it's bound to get slippery. You don't want to fall down and hurt that beautiful round tush of yours, so make sure you grab a bag of Sexy Stan's Calcium Chloride Ice Melt before that snow season sneaks up on you. You might be asking yourself, why should I go with your bag of salt, Mr. Stan? Well, sweetness, this ice melt is super gentle on your sidewalk and won't do anything nasty to it, unless you want it to. It's safe for your lovable plants, and most importantly, if it gets cold, like negative 25 degrees, this bag of ice melt will be sure to keep you and your driveway and sidewalks nice and warm all through the night. Head on over to sexystan.com, that's sexy with 3 X's, and order your hot bag of ice melt today. Enter the promo code MINDGAP at checkout to get a free 10-minute webcam session with the one and only Sexy Stan. This week's episode is brought to you by Elfin & Castle, located at 185 North Wabash and 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois. Look, I know you're looking for that perfect English pub experience so you can grab some incredible drinks and tasty food. Elfin & Castle has you covered. They have excellent daily drink specials, happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and some delicious-ass food for you to chew on while you watch some fucking sports. Come on down to Elfin & Castle at 185 North Wabash or 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois, and tell them that Mind Gap Podcast sent you. Whoa, what a great episode this was, nerds. The amazing and wonderful Tim Soszko returned to the podcast to chat with Justin and I about the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. We dove deep into what we loved and what we had issues with while binge watching this Netflix series. It goes without saying that if you haven't seen the show, there's spoilers, you dummy. So grab hold of your Landstrider, sharpen your dual glaive, and get ready to dream fast as we prevent the darkening in episode 214 of Mind Gap Podcast.
Mind Gap Podcast.
I'll come over. Sometimes I just like to rave, so I'll come over and I'll make him do things on his computer.
Drops an E and then...
And I just stand and just, oh yeah!
The lights, they're saying something to me.
Your carpet's so soft. Take that how you will.
Yes.
I wasn't taking it that way. And now I have no choice but to take it that way.
Tim Soszko, welcome back.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
It has been 3 years-ish.
Over
3 years, yeah.
The last time you were on this episode was episode 33, March 16th, 2016.
Wow.
So I did my research. And now we're on episode 214, so it's been long overdue.
Yeah.
So we were very happy to have you back.
I'm so excited to be here.
It was funny because Doug and I will, about every couple months or so, Doug and I will be like, you think Tim would be back on? You think we should? And we've been like prepping, like we're like, next time we have him on, it's got to be like a big show, like maybe a live show or something. Like we got to save Tim for. Do you think he'd want to do it? And like we're so when you reached out, we're just like, he wants to do it.
And I was like, the thing you're like, I don't know if you guys know, even remember. I'm like, how dare you?
How
dare you?
We talk about you incessantly
Because I'm not. I don't.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But
What do I know about people remembering who I am?
That's fair.
I had you for two months, 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But
that's it.
hell of an impact.
And that's what I was about to say is like, as far as like improv and stuff goes, by far one of the most memorable and impactful classes.
Well, thank you.
And just forever, the fact that even after the fact, when I'd go to the Deltones, I'm like, oh, Tim's playing in the Deltones tonight. How exciting. And without a doubt, just so much fun to watch. So it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
And one of our favorite episodes was the one you were on because of the straight rage that to this day just makes me laugh.
Now, I would like to set something. I'd like to make you proud of me.
Oh, okay.
I have watched Sherlock.
Okay.
And I love it.
The Cumberbatch ones.
The Cumberbatch ones,
Okay.
yes. Now
The Robert Downey Jr. ones.
See, again, those had some great moments in it, right?
They were fun movies.
Yes.
No, but I've watched season 1, 2, and 3. Mm-hmm. I couldn't bring myself to 4 because I felt like it started to really shift in season 3, and I was like, this feels like when the season 3 opens with that action sequence of them re-explaining the fall from the building.
Yeah.
And it felt very tonally it just felt different. And I was like, okay. And then the rest of the season kind of progressed like that with the shooting and this. I was just like, this is odd. And then season 4, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. So I want to watch it, but it's not in my. I was like, I did 1, 2, and 3. Tim will be proud of me.
I did 4 just because I'm so into all of it, the stories, or the books and everything, as much as I could be. And then 4 was, I was like, oh yeah, this is nothing like any of the books. It's unnecessary. You know what I mean? Watch it if you want, because still there's some great moments in it, but it's unnecessary.
Now, I was talking to someone who I work with who's big into it, and he likes just British TV in general. And he said, I think, is it Mark Gatiss, who plays the Sherlock's brother?
Oh, perhaps.
Yes. He apparently is also like a big producer in England. And he said that my friend's not a big fan of his, and so he's just like, well, Gatiss got his mitts on it, and he started producing it in season 3. That's why it shifted. Season 4, absolute dog shit. He just like railed on it, and I'm like, oh, okay. I feel like I'm getting an education I didn't ask for, but cool.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if you knew anything behind like the production of why maybe it shifted or anything like that. No.
Nope.
Okay. Just felt wrong.
Tim, can you explain why it went downhill? Tell us.
I feel like Tim knows everything. I will ask him.
At the end of,
I've watched the first season.
what did you think?
I enjoyed it. Like it's funny because I was telling my wife about that. I was like, he was giving us shit for not watching Sherlock. She goes, we haven't watched it. I go, yeah, we have. She goes, no, we haven't. I go, you don't remember, do you? She goes, what? I go, they were like hour and a half long episodes. She goes, oh. I go, there wasn't like 10 episodes. There was like 2 episodes in the first season. She goes, oh, I don't remember. I was like, yeah, you got to meet Moriarty and everything like that. I remember that. It was cool. It was interesting. I thought it was very, very interesting. But it was just like, it was like one of the things is so much TV out there, And for me, especially...
too much, one might say.
Yeah.
It's so funny because, like I watched the first season of Mindhunter, liked it. Thought it was really good.
What is that?
It's on Netflix. It's basically about the earlier stages of trying to when the organization was for tracking serial killers and stuff like that. It's pretty interesting, like drama and things like that. And I really enjoyed it, and I was like, cool. In my mind, I was like, that show is done. And they're like, season 2 is here. I'm like, oh, you know what though? But I'm kind of already done with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, just wasn't ready for anything else. I'm like, nah. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I don't really want to watch season 2.
Well, Netflix alone has like 290 something original series on right now, which is an absurd amount of TV.
And then all of the television not television, all of the movies,
right? Yeah,
that they have as well. What's coming out today? Zach Galifianakis,
Scott
Aukerman,
Between Two Ferns.
Between Two Ferns
Oh,
movies.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm gonna watch that. I'll see how that is.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like things to recommend and whatnot, and all it's like,
which brings us to
this to this
meeting.
moment.
Flawless transition.
I was like, oh my gosh, you guys. Well, number 1, do you remember me? Number 2, were you a fan of the Dark Crystal because the Resistance has come out?
Yes.
Or is about to come out? And I was like, we should all binge it and then do a podcast about it and really get into it. And have you guys?
We did our
homework.
saying,
right? Yeah.
You were saying.
Oh, I was saying that. Thank you for that. I was saying that.
I am setting you for the spike.
No, I was saying that when you brought that up, I was aware that it was a film in the 80s, and I was aware. I'm like, oh yeah, that weird looking film. When I was a kid, I was like, I don't know about this, and I didn't ever really watch
Why am I peeing my pants right now? Because I'm so frightened of everything on screen.
Oh, that one that's kind of like the Neverending Story, but not, and just look wise, I was like, I put it in that same like weird.
Yeah, those
genre,
two things go hand in hand as far as I'm concerned. Neverending Story and the Dark Crystal are the same.
See, now we could do a whole nother one on the Neverending Story. It's a great book. You read the book?
No.
Neverending Story.
No.
Basically, the movie ends halfway through the book.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
After what's the guy's name? Kid's name?
Oh, it's
Bastion.
Bastion. Yeah, I was like, yeah. We'll get there.
This is Call My Name. That's what she's saying.
yeah.
After Bastion saves everybody, he has to keep making wishes to bring it back. But every time he makes a wish, he loses a part of who he was. He loses bits of his memory, and he becomes that. He keeps making wishes, but then loses pieces of himself. He becomes this warlord in the desert, and he actually goes to attack the princess and the people that he saved.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right?
Wow.
I thought you were going to say he becomes the nothing. I'm like,
I don't know, maybe. It's been
thus
a while.
the never-ending story,
Yeah.
because that stops it, because he stopped the previous person that became the nothing, and
It's cyclical. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Wow,
amazing.
that's actually really, really cool.
What a cool
Yeah.
way to like expand that universe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
the universe was already expanded. They just shut it down.
Oh wait, I'm sorry.
Shut
So
it
the
down.
book did come first. I thought for some reason I didn't know that. I'm a dummy.
No, you're not.
You're a
Next time you're on, I'll have read the book and I will know all the things.
Okay,
Do you remember about this part with this character? Zing
like-
Warlow? And I'll be like, no, I read that when I was a kid.
Okay, well, but let me tell you. about it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was aware of the Dark Crystal, didn't know anything about it really, and then I watched the series for this, and immediately, episode 1, I was like, all right, I think I understand what's happening here. Like this is
Wait, so you didn't watch the movie first?
no, because it's a prequel. I'm like, I'm gonna set myself up and do it in order.
I guess.
But no, yeah, I watched the series first because I knew that if I needed to knock that out for when we had this, so I'm like, I need
yes.
that. So, and I've scrubbed through the movie now. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've scrubbed through. I actually scrubbed out about 20 minutes because how they make movies in the 80s, a lot of long establishing shots. And I'm like, great. So these guys are walking for a while. I'll just go ahead and skip
Got
ahead.
that guy's, the voiceover of that guy, right? That will haunt my dreams forever.
Oh, the opening? Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, right?
Yeah. But no,
dog.
after I watched the
Crystal.
first one, it was amazing. And I was like, this is it. And I got into it and I just fucking blew through the rest of them.
Yeah.
So thank you for making me a fan of this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's because you suggested it, and I was like, oh, yeah, the Dark Crystal. I'm like, you know, it's okay. And then I immediately went and rewatched the movie again, and I was like, okay. I was like, amazing puppetry. And I put it like back to the time. It was like 82 when it came out, right? Or something like that. So I'm like, geez, if you think about when this came out and making a movie with all this puppetry and everything, I was like, very impressive. It definitely has that narration up top to tell you exactly what's going on in the land of Thra.
And a lot of exposition throughout,
Yes.
too. Like when
they need it because
Yeah.
there was absolutely no reference
Yes.
to Earth.
Right.
Or even our universe. Really,
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Nothing to
everything is
pull from at
so-
all, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like what they did with the prequels too. Again, Sigourney Weaver doing the narration of like giving you a background
I
on.
was hoping there'd be more.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because I thought I liked her narration.
I thought it was really good, but at the same time, it was crisp. It set it up, and then it was like, cool. Now let's watch it how
Yeah.
it goes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because that was another world, another time. The Skeksis, the Mystics.
I got angry at first.
Oh, yeah?
Because I paused it.
on the series?
And at the series,
Yeah.
In the first 3 minutes, I paused it and I turned to my wife and I'm like, they are already making mistakes.
Yeah, I was like, so that's something too. Is like, how much did they did they? Because I inherently hate prequels, because prequels generally, I mean,
Change the story, or
they fuck it up. They fuck up the
Yeah.
continuum. They mess things up in general.
later on they didn't.
Yeah.
Like there was something that maybe they were saying that I misinterpreted, or they were setting up to show that this was the known history, and then they discover it as they go along.
Yeah.
Like when they get to the tall rock with the two that are living together, the
Yes.
Skeksis and the
Yeah.
mystic that are
Yeah.
living together.
Yeah.
Circle of the Suns?
That's when.
Yeah.
Is that the name of the?
It is.
That's how much you're into this.
I love it.
Oh, that's great.
For the record,
So
didn't
good.
think he'd be into it. Like when we made this assignment to each other to watch it and everything. I didn't check in with him. I'm like, I'm willing to bet Justin hasn't watched this at all.
Yeah.
And then it just side comment goes, by the way, Dark Crystal, I'm into it. And I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, cool. How far? He goes, I'm almost done. I'm like, you're beating me? I was like, holy shit. Okay, he's into it, because this doesn't really seem like your cup of tea in general.
No.
Not really his jam for type of stuff. Fantasy you're okay with, but some of it
I don't know
like,
what happened, but I think it was full on.
I was like, this is
great,
a deep fantasy stuff we're
Yeah.
going into, and I was like very impressed.
I think we interrupted you though.
No.
What were you? You were like,
Oh,
you were
I hate
like, meh,
prequels.
No, thank
For
you.
the
prequels.
The original one, I don't generally like prequels because it gets very George Lucas-y as people try to over-explain everything.
Yeah.
I was like, God, we don't need to do that. We've talked ad nauseum about Star Wars and
Sure.
over-explaining. Harry Potter, we were talking a little bit about that too with the most recent ones. It's like they're messing with timelines, like when stuff is happening, and they're really sort of almost stepping on the magic of that world, if you will.
We've talked about how it doesn't. Also, there's the stakes are like.
Yeah.
They're just dropped because
Yeah.
you're like, I know he lives or she
Yeah.
dies or whatever because they've seen the movie. Yeah,
Exactly. And that's why I was telling Justin, because we watched the movie again, and I was like, the prequel, and it's like, I go, if you watch the movie, they're going to be like, well, this doesn't end well in the prequel. I was like, as you've seen so far, you're like, there's 2 Gelfling left.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's my whole thought the entire way through was,
Gentle
this is-
Deet.
Oh,
Oh,
with
yeah.
the spoon, I'm like, he's gonna die.
Right. That guy.
so innocent.
I was like,
Yeah.
well, the podlings make it, but, I mean, they're mostly...
But do they make
But
it?
do they make it?
What they open it up to, though, saying how many Skeksis and Mystic there
Yes.
were,
yeah.
and how many different types of Gelfling there were,
Yeah.
and what they open it up to is because the place is still, the darkening is happening,
Yeah.
but it's still green and growing and
Yeah.
beautiful. And
Outside the
fantastic.
castle, it's not a
Yes.
desert. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I'm like, cool. So, like you said, it's just
So
happening.
no wonder it is. What is it? Another 1,000 years
I think
until
so. 1,000 trine.
Right. Which also, I don't think they used the word trine in the movie, did they? They
No,
kept saying
they
years.
didn't in the movie. Yeah.
That's why I was watching the movie. I'm like, where's trine? What's happening?
Fucking prequels, I tell you.
Yeah, the Great Conjunction. Oh, what they did with Aughra was great too. And she's that old, and
Yes.
she's that crazy in the Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
It also explains why they're scared of her.
Right.
In,
Yes.
in the movie. Oh, so there's so much to unpack.
I know, right? It's so well done. So, I guess that's a great place to start. Like, what?
Oh, but do you like it?
Oh, I
Or no? Overall.
I definitely like the prequels. Like, I was surprised at how much I was enjoying it. I have a couple of things that I just couldn't fully get over, minor things.
Me too. There were
But-
certain things with puppetry and stuff that I was just like,
Yeah.
or the mixture of puppetry and CGI that I was
Yeah.
like, I could not suspend my disbelief
Yeah.
in this moment. Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah,
Okay.
there's some things
Yeah.
you're like, oh yeah, that's a puppet, but and that's okay because it's also I'm appreciative of what you're getting to see and how they're doing it. It's like, whoa.
My favorite is the Twitch will be able to see us, but the people on the podcast won't. So it's like the most intimate, most wonderful, most fantastic moment, and they reach for it, and it's like. But the music is beautiful and the setup is beautiful.
Or they go to hug and
The
their hands
voices,
are just like,
yeah, and they're like, you see like they just ricochet off each other a little bit.
or there's like an action sequence and you see like some feet like that are trying to like climb up jump off a sword. You're like,
Kung, 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 kung. It's like,
It's like, yeah, that's brilliant. But I forgive it because I
Of course.
appreciate what
Yeah.
they're doing. Because there's other times where I'm lost in it. Because there wasn't a lot of blinking in the original movie, of the characters.
Yeah.
Very little. There wasn't much. Whereas there was a lot more eye work. There was a lot more expression they could get. Like as far as he showed me the scene where in the dark, we were just watching before he came in, and the Chamberlain brings in the Gelfling and to the new emperor, and they're like Gelfling, and his eyes just kind of half crossed, and he goes,
No movement whatsoever. They're just like, they must have called action and his eyes slipped down. They're like, all right, we got to go with this take. And it's just
Whereas that, because you compared the prequels to that, you're like, oh, I'm glad I watched the original first, and then back to this, because you're like, much, much, much better as far as that. But it's just like, Gelfling.
One other thing I thought was cool is in the original is that for the wide shots or the long shots, when you saw them climbing rocks and stuff, they actually had like someone in a costume.
So, yep, it
which
was
I was
a-
like, well,
it was
that's
a small person.
Exactly, yeah. And I was like, well, that's an interesting take on it because now there's natural movement with it.
Did you watch it's an hour and 40 minutes or something, the making of?
That's what he was telling me about.
That's up next for me. Yeah.
I'm.
No, we pissed him off again.
We were so close.
It made me It made me look at all of the flubs of that. Or what I thought were or took me out of it, and it went, oh yeah, but who cares?
Yeah, right.
The world that they had to create. The original, it was something like the original thing had 32 sets that they had to build.
Jesus, that's a lot.
And the original movie, and took 3 years to create. This they had 85 sets or something like that, and it's 6 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think they announced it in 2017.
Yeah.
And then released in 2019.
How much Netflix is behind this is insane.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and the guy who designed all of the creatures to begin with, Brian Froud, is back along with his whole family, and the Hensons are all there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You can see the thing is like with the Hensons and what they're able to do with that. There's no one that comes close to what those guys can pull off.
I know. And well, the thing is also that they tried for a little bit to. They had they had this test shot that they show of a puppet. Skeksis with Skeksis. I don't know. I'm gonna say Skeksis. Yeah. They have the puppet Skeksis with a CGI Gelfling.
Oh, interesting. No,
Not good. Yeah.
No, it just didn't. It did not match.
Yeah.
You know, just similarly when the hunter is jumping from tree to tree.
Yeah.
And stuff, part of my nerdiness is going like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But not when then there's a. With a sword,
yeah, right.
Battling it,
Yeah.
Because I'll say that much. Bring up the Hunter was probably one of my favorite characters in there because
easily
one of those things where I'm like, didn't know this guy existed, and goddamn, it's terrifying.
And Arrow, his other half,
was also very cool, and you know the fact that even when it was just puppetry, the movement he had was really cool.
Yeah.
I also didn't realize the Skeksis had 4 arms for some reason.
I don't think all of them do.
Okay,
all of them do. I read up on this.
Oh, really?
Actually, Tim,
all of them do. The main ones in like the castle have just gotten so gluttonous and over. Like the other ones have basically like atrophied.
Oh,
and so they'll use so the hunter being like
is
this
that why they
prowess.
then have
Maybe
when
I was
they're
wondering
going to
about
war,
that. Yeah.
they've got the metal arms that are kind of in the back of them.
That's what I was thinking too.
Cool.
And because the thing I loved about the Hunter was he was so cool because he was so much different than the other Skeksis. Because I love it. He comes in and he's like, "Bah, you guys fight and bicker over this." He's like, "I'm only here for the hunt," and everyone's fucking terrified.
Everybody's terrified,
as they should be. And not only that, what the lengths they were willing to go to resurrect him shows you how important, for many reasons. Right, we're eternal. We can't. To accept that he dies is to accept that we all can die. But just to see him. And his prowess and how dedicated he is to it's just like he's such a different character than all the other like hoity-toity guys who are just like fighting over different shit and everything like
His
that.
costume was minimal. His actual frame was more slender. Like he was athletic and so like just to see him move was so much different than to see these other guys waddling around and he'd set him up and apart from them.
I love when Arrow is shooting him and then getting
Yes.
hurt himself.
Yeah.
Well, I love that too.
Is it okay that we're just bouncing around?
Of course.
I don't know if you guys had like a.
Yes. Very good.
How about Simon Pegg?
Dude, he told me the other day,
Yeah.
he goes, that was Simon Pegg. I go, I'm pretty sure it's the original voice actor. He goes, no, it's Simon Pegg. And I was like, what the fuck it is?
Because Frank Oz originally did the voice.
Yes.
Yeah. Frank Oz is dead.
I think that's correct.
I think so.
Yeah.
But it was recent. Because I remember and I was just like, oh, that's so sad.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have done it anyway. I
Yeah.
don't think. There were some other things that came up in these past years where I'm like, oh, Frank Oz did that voice, but he wasn't doing the voice anymore.
Okay.
Anyway,
Dude.
I did. It
was amazing.
Yeah, he did so fantastic with that.
Well, even Jason Isaacs, who played the Emperor, like I could
Amazing.
barely because I remember him from a lot of different things like Avatar, Last Airbender. He plays a character in there. Obviously, Harry Potter, and he does a very good villainous. But a lot of those guys did a really good job of just disguising their voice or getting.
Of being voice actors,
even
as
Keegan
opposed
Michael
to being,
Key.
I'm a star, and you just have my voice because you want Chris Rock to be the voice of this dog.
Exactly.
or something. Yeah.
Even Keegan Michael Key, I could pick his out more than others, but still, like,
Keegan Michael Key was in it.
yeah, he was the ritual master.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
And of course, the most mighty Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill.
I mean,
See,
I was
that
like,
one I could pick out.
of course, because Joker.
Yes.
Born
But
for that
only.
role, yeah.
You know who I didn't know? You just mentioned Last Airbender.
Yeah.
He was the
Fire Lord's,
Phoenix King.
yeah.
He was the Fire Lord.
Yeah.
For a while, and then became the Phoenix King.
Yeah.
Or something. He was that, and it wasn't until I watched it like the third time or something where I was just like, there's the mark. Especially when he starts getting crazier and angrier.
Yeah,
exactly.
Anyway,
but I loved it because I'm sitting there going, God, how can he? I'm just thinking throats, and stuff like how people can pull that off.
Well, all of them though, like, did such a good job of putting all of them had gravel in their throats.
Yes.
Like every single one, I was like, that's just. It's cool how they all kind of agreed. Like, this is an element of the Skeksis. Is that like this is something that all of them share, is that type of voice, and they all like went into that.
Same thing with the Mystics.
Yes.
They do that in the original movie.
Yes,
they describe the Skeksis as like falling apart and struggling against it and deteriorating like before their very eyes, whereas the Mystics are like, yep, nature's gonna do what it will with us. And then we discover in the prequel that it's because they're from another dimension. Like, they got here.
Yes.
Right? You guys know that, right?
Wait, yes.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
When they were doing that little play. And
Yes.
they're not from Thra, which is why it's so. Why they're taking advantage of it, and why they don't belong, and why
why they're happy to steal the essence of it, because they're like, whatever, and it feeds us because we don't care about this world.
It's all out of balance.
Yeah, which is interesting, and I loved how they. It was kind of like I remember watching a making of like Lord of the Rings. And it was like showing just a bunch of extras who could be playing orcs. They're like, all right, guys, gather around. This is how an orc chops wood.
Yeah.
And they were like getting in the stance and showing them. Yeah. And like they're like, all right, now you guys try. Like, get in that stance and figure out how. And I feel like it was the same thing with this. Skeksis, this is how they talk. This is what they do. Right. And I think it just completely. It was so impressive to see what they could do.
Something that they say in that making of thing, which watch it. It's very much worth it. They sometimes get a little bit like over dramatic about it, and they've got the stars that are the voices like getting into it as well, and I'm like, you don't matter. What's great though is one time, I forget if it's Jason Isaacs, one of them says, we don't matter. We are such an afterthought of
course.
this, and it quite literally is. I didn't realize it in animation, voice first, and then they match the thing. I
was wondering how
they puppet it first, and the person who is puppeting the puppeteer. There we go. Puppeteer is an actor themselves, and so they're acting it out and moving the mouth and everything, and then they have to match the mouth movements.
God, that's insane.
Brilliant.
Yeah. It's completely backwards from what I thought it was. And I was like, oh, amazing. And even more so when whoever it was said that was just like, oh yeah, you're nothing.
Well,
I mean, you're an amazing voice.
Yeah.
Like, again, Simon Pegg was.
Yeah.
Who knew that it was him? Right.
Yeah, I didn't.
So they're that, but they are the small. I think it was that was it. We are the smallest fraction of what this is.
Yeah.
To do that role, you've got to check, like, their egos. All egos are checked at the door.
Yep.
You're not coming in as a movie star. You're coming in as part of a large ensemble.
Well, what I love too is like in the credits you see dual names for the characters, right? It's the puppeteer plus the voice, and it's like
when I was on IMDb,
I could not. Shit show.
I'm like, what am I? Wait, what? Shit.
Like, who's what? I don't understand. Who's
that
saying
first
this?
episode though? I was
the Chamberlain, played by Simon Pegg. But Simon Pegg is played by.
Okay, hold on.
Wait, what?
Refresh this. The first two episodes, I watched it with my phone open, going, all right, and that is so and so, and that is so.
Do you really? You need to know that?
For me, it's just because I have this like OCD mind where I'm just like, I can't. I need to know who. It's just.
Is it because you recognize the voice and then you need to figure out who it is, or you just want to know?
For a couple of them, it was like Keegan-Michael Key's. I could hear. I'm like, I know that voice, and then Awkwafina. I was like, I know her. I know that voice. And I couldn't figure out who they were. And then I looked them up, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's like that sense of relief.
I don't want to know. Because if, like Simon Pegg, I saw at the end of the first one, and then I spent the rest of the time trying to recognize Simon Pegg's voice in it. Maybe it happened once. And that's a big maybe.
Yeah.
Because he was so...
Yeah.
I had no idea that Jason Isaacs was... You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing.
We're going to ruin all of these voices for you, so...
Yeah.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I mean, I knew about it once I saw
Gilbert Godfrey played the general, you know. Justin, do the general as Gilbert Godfrey. Go.
All right, Skeksis, line the fuck up and shut up.
Oh my God, I thought you was doing a bit. That was fucking amazing.
If anyone,
oh my God, that was awesome.
He's good for accents and Gilbert Gottfried. I'll give it a shot, but you won't like what you hear.
I'm not asking you to give it a shot. I don't want. That was fucking great. Holy crap.
You just point at me.
Damn, that was awesome. Yeah, that's it. You don't speak anymore until we point at you. And all right. All right. So, yeah, I don't... My wife has that bug, a little bit of that, I think, because she'll hear a voice and she'll be like, who is it? And then she'll pull out her phone and try to figure out who it is. I don't want to know. When I'm watching something where there's voiceover, I'm like, I don't care.
And
if I can lose
myself,
if I can lose myself in what it is, sometimes when I figure out who it is, and then I'm like, shit.
Interesting.
You know, like... Actually, one time I was watching something and it was Drew Barrymore was the voice, and I was like, "Fuck, nope, I don't like Drew Barrymore." So
why?
I kept trying to watch it. And I'm just like, "This is so
because
I could just see her in the booth going, "Fuck you, Drew Barrymore."
It's so funny because I'm more in his camp because I'm just curious because I'm like, I feel like I've heard this before. Like, what else do I know it from? You know, it's kind of like watching The Boys. Have you seen The Boys on Amazon Prime?
I don't think so. What is it? What is
Tim, you have to watch it.
What is it?
It's a show about superheroes who are bad.
Oh, I've heard of it. Sorry,
Good.
I
We're
have
getting
heard
closer.
Of it.
Yes. You should watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. The guy who plays Homelander, who's basically evil Superman in that show, I was like, this guy's fucking incredible. I was like, surely I've seen him in something else. And
He's
I look it
Dollar
up,
Store Bradley Cooper.
and I look at it and I was like, no, I haven't seen him in anything. How have I not seen? Because that's the thing is I see these people, I'm like, what else have they been in?
I mean, it's sad to say, but there are 200 other Bradley Coopers in Los Angeles, and it's just this one Bradley Cooper was able to make his way through.
Yes.
To, you know.
Right. And he's fantastic. I was like, how I have to see if this guy's been in anything else, and I just have to know.
It's so everything is so anti-hero already, and to me, I'm drenched in it. I don't care about it. And also, I will say, there's a part of me as I've just turned 40.
Congratulations.
There's a part of me that thank you. I don't care. But there's a part of me, like old man part of me, that's going like, why can't there just be good people that are good and bad people that are bad? Why did in Injustice, Gods Among Us, why did Superman have to end up becoming evil?
Because Joker killed Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Okay, yeah.
Well, I'll say this much about The Boys. It's a comic written by Garth Ennis, who also wrote Preacher and some other stuff.
Wait. So like he wrote the books.
Yeah.
Then right.
Garth Ennis did.
I will watch it then.
Yeah.
Sorry,
and
because
the thing is,
those are amazing.
Yeah. So the comic is insane, absolutely bonkers, cuckoo, crazy, hypersexual, hyper-violent. The show grounds it a lot more, and actually the show takes a lot of liberties, which I love.
But is it still hypersexual?
Not nearly as bad.
No.
Not nearly as crazy.
Why do I want to watch it then?
Well, I mean, there's a part where a woman, sits on a dude's face and crushes it. So there you go. Thumbs up.
I'm in.
And back in. But
I just remember when it was first announced, Doug had been like telling me he was reading these comics. And he was telling me about it, and he's just like, "Oh man, these comics are just." He's like, "I was on the train reading this, and I got to this one panel. I just closed the book and looked around, hoping no one had seen that panel. Like that."
There's a trade called Herogasm, and I was like, careful. I think I don't know if I had him at one point. I gave it to a friend at work. I go, careful reading that one on the train. Because people are going to be like, what the fuck are you reading?
Just because of the pictures?
Oh, yeah. It's very graphic. It's super.
When they announced the show, I remember the first thing you said to me is like, you're like, Justin, I don't know how the fuck they're going to do the show.
I was like, it's bonkers.
Yeah, this has got to be HBO or something.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how they're going to do it. But it was that show. I'll tell you this much, too. I know it's the whole, heroes are bad. But I've been saying when the Avengers came out, I was like, The Boys should be made. This is the antithesis to that at that time. I'm like, this would be perfect for it. Obviously, finally gets made. But it takes a different approach to it. So I've seen some people that are like, I know the whole superheroes are a bad thing. I'm like, this is a different approach.
Cool.
I think you'll like it.
I'll check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. Anyway, back to the Dark Crystal.
Let's talk. Well, how did we get off? Who gives a shit, right?
I don't know.
Talking about finding voices and who does the acting and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore's the worst.
The moral of the story
That's the title of this episode. Drew Barrymore's the worst with Tim Soszko.
Also, the Dark Crystal.
Yeah. The music.
Yeah, right?
The music was so amazing. The interstitial, or what is it called? You know what I'm saying, right?
Dilithium crystals.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
The background music.
Yes.
Was amazing.
Diegetic.
Thank you.
I kept thinking diuretic. I'm like, that's not right.
That's not right. The score. There we go.
Yes.
The score was absolutely amazing. But also I loved when they would start singing, like the Gelfling would start singing. It was so fucking amazing. It was so phenomenal.
That scene where they were honoring spoiler
around
alerts.
the fire,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, this whole thing is spoilers. I figured, like, you need to say spoilers when you're doing a fake commercial or something.
Right? Yeah, right. Yeah. By the way,
Twitch is pissed off right now. They're just like, what? Yeah.
Yeah, but when they all started singing and one by one they were hopping in, I was like, oh man, this is really beautiful. It was, and that's the thing I loved about the Gelfling in that regard is just the honor and their traditions were very beautiful to me.
Yes.
Because a lot of times that stuff happens in shows. I'm like, who fucking cares? Funeral. But the fact that Celadon was like, I'm going to burn her, and everyone's like,
because you didn't
what?
return her to Thra.
How dare you? She's like, well, she's a heretic. It's like, whoa. It's just like something.
Can we say that I am not happy that Celadon got?
Of course we can.
That came back from it and was just like, oh, what have I been doing? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You fucking bitch. Look what you did to your mom. Look. Oh.
I know that. You tell your sisters, you're like, it's all your fault. It's like, let's fight together. I'm like, bitch, get out of here.
Right. Isn't it like just one night happens?
Yeah.
And she made
100%
a Skeksis outfit, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Right.
You like?
She's just in there sewing.
I was. Yeah. By the way, I was totally fine with her having turned that way. I'm like,
we didn't need her to come back.
Yes.
Like, how interesting would that be if the Skeksis had someone in the that would have been a whole different
I
fucking
love
thing.
lore. I loved that. Well,
Yes.
I was a little bit weirded out by the fact that the mom, the Almadra, had never found that beneath the thing, right?
Yeah.
However, I love that lore was there. I would have, what would have been cool? We're talking about fan theories now.
Yes.
Let's do it.
If this is what I was thinking. It was feeling, and it was in my heart. What's her name? Brea?
Yeah.
Yes.
Finds that place. And then lore comes to life. And then I wanted the Almadra to be behind her and say, I'm sorry that I've had to show you. I've known about all of these things.
That would have been amazing. Yeah.
For the sake of our people or whatever, we've had to
This is what I've had
that
to
would have
do.
made it even more interesting because she's all about duty and honor, right? Even if she knew, she'd be like, this is what we have to do to survive or whatever, which would have actually been even more interesting for Celadon as well because she would have missed out on that part.
Yes.
Which she would have been taking all the teaching that their
Or
mom was giving
even if
her.
she saw it, she would have. Well, that's what I loved about it is like we see very clearly that Skeksis are bad, and Celadon's like, no, she was just twisted enough.
Right.
That one little extra thing sent her over the edge, and I loved that.
Right.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, the music. Sorry, I wanted to say one other thing about the music, which was loved all the music, and then when they were like band play when it's like Skeksis were celebrating something. And dancing and whatever they were doing. When the Skeksis were celebrating and they played, it was just there wasn't rhythm, there wasn't really tone to it, there wasn't a scale there, and even percussion sounded awful and muted and awkward, and I was like, and they were digging it, and I'm like, of course they would.
Yes.
Right.
Of course they would love this.
Yeah.
Right.
This chaotic sound.
Discord.
Yeah, the discord, the chaotic sounds, and then as compared to the Mystics and their
Yeah, that what do you call that? I forget it's like the monks things that they do where they kind of
throat singing.
Yeah, the throat singing where they have the.
I don't think they throat sang, but
well, I mean, at one point, Bill Hader's guy.
You're wrong.
Oh, how about that? I tried.
Wait, Bill Hader's in this?
Yeah, he
why'd you do it? He's gonna listen.
I don't
for him
care.
now. Oh, okay,
I
cool.
don't give a shit. Not now.
Andy Samberg is also in it.
Yeah.
No way.
Bill
Bill
Hader
Hader.
and
They were the
Odd Couple.
Circle of the Sun.
Oh, they were.
Yeah, the heretic and the traveler.
Well, they're both amazing with voices. So that Bill Hader especially.
Yeah.
Which one was he?
He was the
wanderer.
The toked up mystic.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Andy. Oh, I guess I can recognize Andy Samberg's voice in the.
It's funny because
so good.
At first I didn't realize that he was the one when Lore played the record on his arm and that there was someone talking. Mm-hmm. I was like that actually took me out because I'm like, who's doing a fucking bad Yoda impression here? Like I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And then you met Andy Samberg's character. And I was like, "Ow, I get it now," because that's.
I did not know that was them.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I love the fact
they
that
did so
that
great.
they got paired up together too.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's a little nice.
And
little
that
nod.
comedic element was unlike anything else, just between those two. Also, what I loved is that that you have, again, seeing so many different Skeksis and mystics and seeing that this guy realized I have a counterpart. And it's important that this is who we are. And everyone, of course, the other Skeksis are like, no, fuck that shit. Like, no, we are here to consume and live forever.
Even the
eternal.
mystics. There's an aspect to the mystics that is like, why aren't you doing more? Why aren't you controlling that? Why aren't you trying to get back together? I feel like you're just going to keep learning more and more. They let you know in the Dark Crystal a little bit about that. Like they tried to better themselves and tear about all the worst part of themselves. Yeah, which is what I think was from the original movie. What that was. But then what assholes to just go and live off by themselves and why aren't they?
To see those two together, accepting, knowing what they are, but also being annoyed at the same time.
Get say it. Get it out. Say it. Yes,
It's amazing. Yeah,
it was so well done. I loved everything about it.
It was. There were such great comedic moments, and then there were God, how dark this was.
Right?
Like
that was a PG show, man.
No way.
Yeah, at the top when he played, it's like PG, maybe bad for epilepsy. And I was like, yeah, I guess.
The warning.
It was like it's like for strobes lights. I'm like, what about I don't know creatures eating eyes and shit like that, you know?
Or the fact that you watch somebody's soul get sucked from their body, and then they get stabbed in the back, and the soul comes back into their body, but then gets filtered out, and then they have like this orgy where they're drinking the essence of these.
Well, the thing too is those characters
with their lips sewn shut.
As soon as that came in, I was just like, I legitimately, I'm like, those fucking poor creatures. I legitimately got sad. Like, this is like The Handmaid's Tale all over again.
Oh my God.
Well, here's another aspect of this that I loved, which is here on Earth, we are pretty much the smartest things, human beings, right? Yeah. And there's really nothing that close to us. Yeah?
Yeah.
There are so many levels and grades of what do you want to call it? Sentient being.
Yeah.
In Thra. And I'm like, that's really fucking cool.
Yes.
Right? That they did that. And they're like, oh, they enslaved these. Podlings are kind of slaves to both Gelfling and Skeksis.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But they seem okay with it.
Right.
Are they ever going to dive into that more? Or they don't seem to care. You know,
the whole political system and social caste system they have in their because not only that those creatures that were lip shown, like they are mechanical geniuses.
Yes.
And that's what I loved is like, they're like, I thought they were extinct. It's like, no, actually, I found them. That's why they're so valuable, and they're going to help you build this. And then, all the different
spiders. What do they call it?
Arathan.
The Rathan.
The Arathan, but what do they call them?
I'm so
the
fucking
collective,
proud of you.
Oh.
What do they call them? The authority? I forget.
We are the
we are
the assimilation.
Ascension?
No. Crap.
We know what we're talking about,
Yes,
though, right?
yeah.
And when they make the faces with the so cool.
Yeah.
Very, very labyrinth.
Yes.
Labyrinthian. If you remember, did you see Labyrinth?
That's another one I would loop in with the Never-Ending Story and Dark Crystal is Labyrinth.
All around that same time, yeah.
Exactly. I just want to say, I'm so fucking proud of you. Like, you are like, oh, it's
the ascendancy.
Ascendancy.
There we go.
We are the ascendancy. Like, you're like, oh, yeah, it's the Temple of the Three Suns. And you're just like, the Traveler, the Wanderer. I'm like, God damn it. Bless you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm impressed.
So the ascendancy being these evil creatures of Thra, but they're not. They're just doing the thing that they would normally do.
Right.
And they end up combining forces with the Gelfling. I'm like, holy shit, of course this is what would happen.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh, Augra's just
and
manipulating all of it and opening her fucking third eye. And
I thought it was interesting too. I thought it was kind of cool too, as like just a nod to the film when she manifested again or reincarnated from when the hunter died.
Yes.
She poofed out, and she had the red dress that she has in the movie.
I didn't even notice.
Because that's why I was like, well, where does this costume change come into play? Because everything else, costume-wise, has been like spot
Dead
fucking on.
yeah.
And I was like, her outfit's different than what it is in the movie.
That's what it was.
And then I was like, oh,
transformation.
She came out in the red dress. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love the whole thing of like they showed her the universe because they're these interdimensional beings. And they're like, leave it to us. We'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And so she basically goes into a trance for a trine.
Many thousand a trine.
Many thousand trine. And when she wakes up, she like coughs dust.
Yes.
Right.
That was so great.
Well, I love too. She turns to the podling. She's like, I remember when you were just a child. He's like, no. And the thing I love too, there's no subtitles with the podlings.
Yes.
And you
Yep.
don't need it. And I
Nope.
think that's beautiful.
Nope.
Hub just speaking and then occasionally breaking in things and stuff like that. Like you understand exactly what's going on. But him just kind of nonchalantly being like, oh no, that was my grandfather. He's like, grandfather?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what? It's like, yeah.
Her voice is great too.
Oh, it's so good.
It was a little more like Irishy in the movie.
I think it was a little crazier.
You're
right. Yeah,
touched.
she's
Yeah.
just because every so often you'll hear her slip into that.
Yeah.
But she's so just twisted and
Yeah.
after a 1,000 years of
Yeah, right?
watching her whole planet, which she is unable to disconnect from. Right. So it is getting diseased, and she is just. I can just imagine her losing her mind.
Sure,
over that many
absolutely,
years.
yeah. Well, I thought too. I totally lost it. Next,
Oh, cool.
I was gonna say we're all joygasming all over this thing,
Yeah.
which rightfully so. But there's beyond the every so often when I fell out of that it was a puppet. One of the things that would get me was those the moment where she takes all of the darkening into her.
Yeah.
Deet.
Yeah.
Yep.
I loved her.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah,
So
he was
great.
awesome. Great character.
With the eyes, because she'd been underground for so long.
Yeah.
And so they got
Yeah,
so great.
it was such a really great distinction between all the different tribes
Yes.
of Gelfling, which I was like,
Love
this is
the
really
desert tribe.
Yeah, they're fascinating. They're like obsessed with death. Just little pieces of it too. Like we're like, oh, cool.
Okay, this is pulling back from our previous episode, but I was telling you about the Wheel of Time, and that it's a 14-book series, and blah 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 blah. That is, it's so there's a desert tribe in that.
Oh, interesting.
That feels that life is a dream.
Oh.
And when they die, they will wake from the dream.
Interesting.
So their life is just horrible and hard. It's shit, right? They train themselves to be like to welcome death. They call fighting and killing each other dancing. It's just the best.
Oh,
Wow.
fantastic.
All right.
Interesting.
Where do we come from?
So we're talking about Gelfling and
so
everything.
that moment right there, which I felt in myself was a Dragon Ball Z moment.
Oh, sure.
Right? Where
Yeah.
it's,
Oh, sure.
doing all of that stuff. And in those moments, I'm just like, nope. I'm like, here it comes. Oh, I lost it. Gone.
What about
Not
lost
following
it?
it.
What do you mean?
It's the same thing. It's it's a puppet.
Oh, gotcha.
I dropped
Okay.
some of the mythology and the
Yeah.
all of that. And maybe it's my advanced age. Maybe it's because it was puppets or something.
Yeah.
But
Was it the motion that took you out of it, or was it the lack of what?
it was. I think it was the movement.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
Because
it was.
the part where like she touches the flower and she's like holding on, she's like, ah, you're like, that's someone just shaking a puppet. Like I get that because a lot of the podlings kind of takes me out too.
Yeah.
Where it's one of those things where you can tell they're more puppet than anything, especially when their hands and they're like,
There's
little
far less
Kermit,
moving
Kermit the
parts,
Frog
yeah.
hands and stuff like that. Like, I'm like, but especially when they're trying to capture him and try to get him like clean and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and they're just like, like you're like those are puppets. But at
And
the
that
same
was-
time, it makes sense because they're podlings.
Yeah. But that was also that was one of those trips back to comedy where I'm just like, this doesn't match the tone of anything else going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like,
The
why are
washing
you-
ceremony? You talking about? Or
Yeah, where they with the clean the podlings. Yeah.
I honestly was waiting for that. It's time to da 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 da. The Muppet Show theme
Yes.
song. Like as I was watching, I'm like, that could be easily playing over this. Yeah.
Yeah. But there was just so much, and again, a lot of that went away when I watched the making of, because I'm like, oh, they hired a linguist. They hired somebody who was a master of languages to come in and create the podling language.
Unbelievable.
And then they hired somebody different to turn it into writing, and
Then they
to
hired
create the Skeksis
someone
book.
to read it like it's their language
Yeah.
and actually act it out. And
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, I can handle a "Rah!" if that's
Yeah.
the case. Yeah, absolutely.
Did they in the documentary? Did they talk about? Because I thought I heard that I watched the trailer for it. I thought I heard that they basically did almost no CGI for the actual puppets.
Yes.
Isn't that like they did like almost 100% just straight puppetry.
Some of the flying, the more you know, tricky flying and stuff. There's CGI, but there's still puppet that is there.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
They even tried. Here's color correction. There's a shit ton of CGI. We just don't think about it as such. But they even did this one in that documentary where they're like, okay, so here's here's a Gelfling, and then we CGI'd to make the face look more realistic or something. And I'm like, no, that still just doesn't work.
Yeah,
as much as
it's the Uncanny Valley sort of stuff where you're like, that's not quite
it's Uncanny Valley.
So it's trying to make something look and appear more human, but we as our animal brains are like, nope. That's not. It's like when you kind of see, like either you look at animatronics or something. Like there's something inherently creepy to humans because it almost looks human, but there's something that we can be like, no, it's not.
Yep, that's not a live thing.
Exactly. So there's a lot of things we're getting better with it. Like a lot of that's why you look at some earlier video games and like in the early 2000s, like with PlayStation stuff, and you've got like these cut scenes and you see this stuff. You're like, God, that looks gross.
Yeah.
It's because they're not blinking or whatever, and they're like, hi guys, and you're like, ugh.
Small things they've missed.
But you're starting to get more and more developed with it. We're getting closer, but at the same time, our brains are like, nope, not real.
Yeah.
So when that's where some of those, like, I'd see some of the eyes and stuff move, or see the mouth open, and
even
while
where
it's
they
not
have
human,
the cameras on every part of the actor's face.
Yes.
Like Endgame, you saw. What's his name?
Thanos.
Josh Brolin?
Thanos. Yeah, Josh Brolin. Yeah. Which I saw that you guys had one. And I was like, fuck you guys, fuck you. Because I would have loved to listen to it and hear it, but I hadn't seen it.
Oh.
Yes. So I'm like, I don't even want to read the description of this podcast.
Smart. Very good.
Because I was so glad that I didn't too, because that movie is something. It was great. I liked it.
Okay.
I was like, wait.
I liked it.
I don't know which way he's gonna go with
I was like, what are we saying here?
I liked it.
Yes. It was
I have issues with it.
Of course.
But maybe we can,
it's allowed. It's allowed. Do you remember who? You know who we had on for that episode was Mr. Chris Vellucci. Do you remember Chris Vellucci? You didn't know Chris Vellucci, or did you?
If I saw a picture, I probably would.
Maybe.
Not now. He's bald.
Well then,
Yes.
there we go.
Another one of our improv friends that I think was in the same class. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
And that's the tale of Chris Vellucci.
And that was a great
Were
interruption
you guys in
story.
the class with Robert, who went off to military? No.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Cool. It was in the same room then. It was in the same room, and it was a level D as well.
Okay, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sorry for ruining that, guys. My bad.
ruining what?
Oh,
Yeah.
I took us out of that. Sorry. Anyway.
Who cares?
Okay, I do.
I don't
But
give a shit.
Tongues of the Skeksis. Did they talk about how they made those move? Because I couldn't figure that out.
The tongues. That is what bugged me a little bit as well.
Okay.
Because I'd be watching it sometimes, and I'd be watching the mouth go,
Yeah.
and then watching the tongue
serpentine.
Yeah. And I'm like, I think they did some.
Yeah.
Had to have been
they had
CG.
to.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too.
Because then I saw other times where the tongue was like, it was the same, or it would curl, but you could see that it would curl along along armature.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those where I kept, anytime that I saw the tongue, I was just focusing on the tongue.
Yeah.
Focus on the tongue a lot. That's how I live my life.
That's right. You got to read lips. You
One
got to
tongue
focus
at
on
a
the
time.
tongue.
F on the T. I'm very happy to watch another season of this.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like once you see the making of, you're going to be like, oh yeah, there's no way they could ever make money on this unless they just kept using it and making toys and marketing and all that sort of shit, because oh my god, the speed. I don't know if you guys heard this about filmmaking. You can have it fast, you can have it good, or you can have it fast, good. Oh shit, what's the third one?
I know.
And cheap.
Yeah.
Fast, good, cheap.
Yeah. You can have two of the three.
You can only ever have two of the three.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This looked fast, good, and cheap.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not cheap. It was
Expensive?
fast and good.
Yeah.
Right.
This must have been so fucking expensive.
Well, I think just the design and decoration of the puppets alone, the Skeksis alone, like they're intricate. I was like, I usually don't care too much for like decorations and just like costumes, but I'm like, the puppet costumes were absolutely, and each individual Skeksis had such a specific design to it. You know, the big poofy, gluttonous guy, the other guy that had like multiple sets of glasses, the scientist, the Chamberlain, they all had their specific outfits, and it was so impressive. Also, interesting to see them, taking baths. I just want to say Skeksis in the bath. The part that they were like, hey.
We'll never unsee that.
Ogre's putting her, wash her eye, and they're like, we don't need to have a shot of, like, the ball sack of the guy. He's like, it's like, and they do it twice.
You want it dark.
I was like, oh, okay, we get it. She's washing her eye out. We don't need to actually get a camera shot in there.
It's cold in here.
Oh, God.
Come back later.
Podlings, fluff me up.
Oh, God. That's
Podling
what
fluffers.
podlings really are.
Yeah.
Are fluffers.
Big door. Oh.
The attention to detail as far as the sets go, though, too, because like the gem room or the crystal room in the movie.
Oh yeah.
When the first time when I was scrubbing through the movie, the first time they cut to that, I'm like, holy shit! Like the series got that like square inch per square inch. It was the same fucking thing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like, amazing the attention to detail. So that alone, like to be able to go through and like you. It had to be an insane amount of money to like do that kind of research and frame by frame get every single thing.
Well, again, Brian Froud was the originator of that style, the style that they played with and everything. And as he's doing a drawing in one of these scenes where they're talking to him or interviewing him, and he's just like, every sort of curve and circle, and I think he's British, so it doesn't sound like this. He's just like, none of those are mistakes. And so he's like, I feel bad for him sometimes because they have to work every single one of those into this thing.
Oh,
wow. Wow.
Oh, my God.
It's so cool to see as well how Froud created some of this and what the Hensons knew and how the Netflix people came over and were just like, oh, okay, but we hired all these puppeteers, but they build it and it doesn't seem to look right. And they're just like, yeah, because they're still trying to make it symmetrical.
Yeah.
Like it is wrong. It is off. It is like this on purpose.
Yeah.
Trust in that. And then all of a sudden it opened up to them and everything. And
yeah. That's crazy.
I think I've said it many times already. The fact that it happened, the fact that the attention to detail, that they spent so much time and so much money and so much effort and everything into it, I'm totally fine with the little, the little.
Right.
It's stuff you're willing to let.
Yep.
You're like, yep. You earned this.
I love how they get around.
Yeah.
With those fucking.
Oh,
the roly-poly.
Yeah, the roly-polies. What cool. That was so cool.
Yeah.
And how they have to have some sort of knowledge as well because they have to know where to go to get to.
Yeah, no one's steering that thing.
Because they say,
Yeah.
they go to the palace of the crystal, and they just go.
It's a certain amount of shocks, I would guess, that lets them know where to go. And it's like, oh, fuck, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I love how
amazing.
it opened up to, Yeah.
That was so cool. So, like, and again, you get to see more of the Landstriders. You get to see more of Grot and the animals that live there. Like, the sheer amount, I mean.
I will say the Landstriders, though.
Yeah.
I don't think, or maybe only in a few shots, but in the original, it was
Dudes on stilts.
with the things on their arms as well. And it wasn't this time.
Yeah.
I don't think it was. Yeah.
It looked vastly different because when I saw him in the film, I was like, you could definitely tell. You're like, well, there's no way that's not dudes on stilts with longer stilts on their arms.
That was very interesting.
So, why do you think they chose now to bring this back about? Like, it just seems like a very and you were more into it when it came out, but like
not really,
or not when it came out, but like
not until I was like in high school, junior high school.
Do you think it had that much of an impact in the day? Like what do you guys think brought this back forth so many years later?
It's a cult thing.
Okay, it is.
Those who love it like within an inch of their lives and stuff. I also think it happens to be part of the culture now, which is reboot everything, bring everything back. And in this, the first time I heard about it, I was like, because my initial thought was they're gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
But holy shit, did they do the absolute opposite of ruining it?
I feel like Netflix has that ability.
Yep.
They just had that track record too, where they're gonna put a pile of money in front of you and they're gonna go
most things.
Yeah, they're
there
not
are
perfect.
Some things. They're not.
Yeah. But they put a pile of money in front of you and they do what so many people get pissed off at studios. Or they do the opposite.
Yep.
Where studios will go, I'm going to hire you. You're creative and we love your vision. Now let me tell you what your vision is. And they just put a pile of money in front of you and go, look, we hired you. do the thing and make it good.
I listen to Bill Burr a lot, and that's all he
Yes.
talks about in dealing with them.
Sure,
is
yeah.
their notes are go further.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do more of what it is
Well,
that you
there's
do.
a reason
Yeah.
why they become a haven for like comedy and comedy specials is because so many guys,
Too many.
Well, at this point, yeah, things like
Everyone's
Amazon.
got a comedy special now, yeah.
They're not special.
Yeah, exactly. But the idea that they were originally, I mean, like I remember Joe Rogan did one back in like 2005 on Netflix, and it was one of those things where, yeah, I mean, things like Big Mouth. Would Big Mouth get made anywhere else? No.
So good.
You know, F is for family.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. They take chances, and it's a thing that we're like, yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Like, we want you to succeed, and yeah, here, we'll fund it because we're interested in it.
And if whatever we need to do to get you the best people to make your thing, which is exactly what they did with this. So yeah, it's like there's a money issue to it of being like, yeah, people are gonna just eat this up, but it's all I don't know. I
Yeah.
honestly don't know. I think it was. It was for so many people, at least in the documentary.
Yeah.
It's just like loved it, and this is executive, producers, director, writers, puppeteers, voice talent.
Yeah.
All of these people absolutely loved this. One of the voice. Maybe it was Simon Pegg. Maybe it was some Taron Egerton, something like that.
Yeah.
Said I saw Dark Crystal offer or something like that, and he was just like, and I don't think I even opened the email. I just called my agent and said I'll do it.
We're doing this thing. Yeah.
That's what's crazy is finding the power behind that.
Yeah.
Which I think is
Yeah.
really cool.
Well, and it's like, I mean, take anyone listening, like take the thing that you like for you, like if you got offered the chance to work on a Marvel movie, like you'd be like, this is the thing that I'm live for, like to have that kind of, to bring fans in to make that, like what a fucking brilliant idea too.
Which for a long time in mind, I wasn't huge into like old school Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But so many people grew up with Doctor Who and then became writers, and then they were just like, "Oh, can I write an episode?" And it ends up being the most amazing.
Of course.
Yeah.
The people who are
Same things with The
totally
Simpsons.
into
You know,
it.
people grew up with The Simpsons, and
Yeah.
before I knew it, fans were getting a chance to ride on the show and everything like that.
Because they want nothing more than just to like do the respect and bring the, like they're like, I cherish this, so I want to make this, I want to do good.
Where are you from?
Where are you from? I know you're from
Here, or
Elmhurst,
like Chicago,
but
yeah,
I'm from Kirksville, Missouri.
It just came out.
What I did?
Give me a chance to rot on the show.
Yeah, it does from time to time.
Yeah.
The whole "we gonna get you," kind of comes out. That's what I call, It's like, where are you from?
Yeah. I was like, whatever you're saying doesn't matter
Right.
because I heard him say
this
it
just
right
got
on the show.
serious.
You can ride on the show. There are definitely times where I'm like, oh, something came out there.
Do you think they're going to bring out other ones like this? Because now I'm wondering, like, are they going to bring out Neverending Story? Because how cool would it be for them to actually take the rest of that story
Oh, so cool.
and really flesh it out?
And get into all of the snail racers and the rock people.
Like,
and
open
everything.
that up,
Like,
yeah.
God,
And
they
then
were
see-
such strong hands. I'm like, or Artex, that horse fucking drowning in
Jesus Christ.
in the swamp of sadness or whatever.
So much fucking issue with that being a kid's movie.
Well, no,
that is
the
just
fucking wolf
scarring.
in that too. That's in the
Scarring.
cave. It's
Yes.
just yeah. That's no.
Yeah.
Did
I
you
think
guys
the
get
Henson
hungry
Henson
when?
friends?
Every time I watched that movie and I saw the Rock eating the limestone, like I would watch it and I'm like, I'm hungry. Like that was a trigger for me.
It looks
really
good.
weird.
It's
Yeah.
like he looks like he's really
He's
enjoying
very much
himself.
enjoying
Yeah.
it. That's one of my strongest memories of that movie. It's
I
just
watched
watching
it maybe
that.
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it's because he's got a rock tongue too.
Oh, does he?
That licks his lips, and it's like he is much more weird looking than I remember him being.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a very strange movie in general.
Yeah, but it was so. Again, it's an otherworldly thing that.
Yeah. They
Yeah.
could have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah.
I want to go back real quick because I have a beef with the Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, and it's I don't believe for a second that a Gelfling can fight.
Rian is the worst fucking fighter in the world. Thank you for bringing this up.
Because they're like the mighty stone in the wood when they introduced him. Like, because that's what's always my problem when I was a kid watching the Dark Crystal was I'm like, these Gelflings suck. Like, they don't do anything. I was like, they can't fight. They get caught.
Yeah.
Like, all they do is run around, and it's like. somehow that guy, I remember being a kid going like, this guy fucking sucks. What a terrible hero. Like, I didn't enjoy him. That's why I used to watching other stuff. But I watched this too. It's like, okay, Stone in the Wood. You know, the Gelfling, the mighty,
That's
the powerful.
another thing that I had. The flippy hunter everywhere lands right in front of Rianne. And then this is the battle that they have.
With the swords, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I started counting. Rianne dropped his sword so many fucking times. I'm like, you were a castle fucking guard, man?
Yeah,
what
right?
What is wrong with you?
Oh, did you guys see it come? Well, you didn't know about it. The shard in the hilt.
Yeah.
Did you see that coming?
Yes.
See, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I was like, I saw it like as soon as, like, I obviously
because you've seen the movie.
Yes.
The Dark Crystal. Okay.
Yeah.
So you know about the shard.
Yes. Yeah.
And the whole time I'm going, where's the shard? Where's the shard? Where's the
Because
shard?
they say, because earlier they're like, oh, the crystal, it's cracked. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then when I saw him drawing stuff out with it, I was like, oh, there it is. And then, of course, when he dropped it, I was like...
When they broke it, I'm like, oh, they broke the sword that makes everything okay again? Nope, wasn't the sword.
Yeah.
That was...
Well, that's the
when I
thing,
figure
too.
things out.
Yeah.
I hate
Same.
when I figure things out.
I don't... Because those people are like, I bet you it's going to be this. I don't like doing that. I remember you were like, no, you do. And I'm like, no, I don't like to.
Right.
Avengers, the first one.
Avengers.
Infinity War?
No. Infinity War, thank you.
Yeah.
Avengers Infinity Wars, somebody mentioned that there was going to be a part 2. And as I'm watching it, I'm going, fuck you, you piece of shit. I fucking, whoever it was that did that, I'm like, and I don't remember now who it was. I'm like, they're not my friend anymore. Because I knew the entire time that there was going to be another movie.
We had one of our buddies didn't know that. He went into it not knowing there was going to be a part 2, and
How?
it ended, and he was just like, "What the fuck was this?"
See, I would have.
He was so angry.
I would have loved that.
Yeah.
Because I know that there would be another part, but with ending with half of all of our favorite people ever turning into Ash, I was like,
Right.
that was so
and you
cool.
know they have contracts, and you're like, how are they gonna retcon
I would have
this?
loved it. I would have loved.
There was a
that
guy in
so
the
much.
theater when I went and saw it. He goes, "Oh, you can't leave it like that!" Like he was so mad. How are you gonna end a movie like that? And I was like,
love
"Wait
that.
a year."
Wait. Can we talk real quick about something?
Yeah.
Of course.
Actually, it fits beautifully with this because they mentioned in the documentary as well. So they the same. I thought, okay, Black Panther.
Yeah.
Is a movie where it's just like they never have to say, I am a woman and therefore I am powerful and strong and blah blah blah. They just are.
Yes. Yep.
They just kill a motherfucker.
Yes.
Right? The women the female Gelfling, those
Yes.
are women. The female Gelfling in Age of Resistance don't ever have to say, I'm in charge because I'm a lady and you need to respect. They're just in charge of everything.
It's a matriarchal society.
It's a matriarchal society.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, yes, I completely accept that.
Right.
Avengers Endgame.
I think
And
I
you
know
exactly what
I think
I'm
I know what
talking
scene
about.
you're going to be talking about.
That's because we're behind you. That's because we're strong. Strut, strut, strut. I'm like,
Line all
What?
of them up. Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Fuck this shit.
Heavy-handed. Yeah.
So shoehorned, so shoved down my throat. I would have been fine had that been like that.
Play that scene out. Don't intro the
The
scene.
fact that Captain Marvel comes in at the end,
Oh my
and
God.
just her own body blows through the biggest
Yes.
ship in his fleet and destroys it. I'm just like, I was totally fine with like, yes, make her the hero
Yes.
of everything.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I was, yay.
Yeah.
I didn't see Captain Marvel the movie, but so apologies
Okay.
if I don't
No.
know anything to pull from that.
Yeah.
But the fact that she came back at the end and
Yeah.
and was
Well, I love
was,
the fact too. Didn't he try to headbutt her or something?
And she didn't budge?
And she just like stared at him, and I'm like, "Yep, you're
He
fucked."
had to pop the power stone out to then punch her.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
that's what he had to do to stop
Yep.
her.
Yep.
Which was
which
so incredible.
only knocked her back, so she gets up again to
Yeah.
come after him.
She's like, "You
she
are
didn't need the
fucked."
rest of the.
Well, not only that,
women.
what I loved, my favorite thing about that is all the women that are coming together and Mantis comes in. I'm like, what the fuck is Mantis gonna do? She's gonna have empathy? Like, whenever she shows up, like, you've got Drax, who unfortunately is just worthless in the movie. He's just a big shirtless guy with
I'm sorry.
with daggers.
Mantis will go up to somebody and lean toward me a little bit and just be like, "Feel bad about what you're doing. Feel bad about what you're doing." That's her power.
Sleep! And
Because
they'll
when
fall
she
asleep.
does that, I think it's in Infinity War, she jumps on
Thanos.
Thanos'
Yeah.
shoulders and he just goes. Brrr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and it's just I can't hold him long. And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Like the plan that they
Great
concocted.
use of her power there.
Yeah,
Fantastic use.
Totally,
yeah.
totally,
But
yeah.
in a war, completely useless. As you see this completely
Feel bad.
I see her just like walking in like
I shouldn't kill anybody. Yeah.
she struts out like along with the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, well, you're dead.
Yeah.
And you might just stay back in that portal because you're not going to be doing. Go back on Titan, lady, because there's nothing that you're going to be able to do.
Yeah, you don't. Can you just be amazing and awesome without having to tell me that you're amazing and awesome?
That's a great point.
Just to bring it up again, in Captain Marvel, there is a particular scene that always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And that
Ruin it for me. I don't give a shit. Yeah.
There's a part at the end where she's kind of like she's regaining her powers and she's fighting like a lot of bad guys. And as they're fighting, No Doubt's "I'm Just a Girl" starts playing.
Oh.
And it's not like from a jukebox or something like that. It just starts playing. And she's just like beating ass, and I'm like, I get it. I don't need this song to play right now. Like, I just, I'm like, it didn't fit to me tonally with what was happening and everything. I was like, okay, got it.
If there is somebody, female or otherwise, who's just like, who looks at that scene from Avengers Endgame and goes, now that's strong women. I'm like, they force fed it to you. They made you want to feel like that's. It's stupid any other way.
I think the Black Panther is the perfect example of that, where like it's just like, again, never addressed, but the females were the most feared warrior, or the fearsome
his
warriors.
guard?
Like the guard of the person in charge is all chicks, and like it's like just because.
And without his powers,
right?
He would have gotten the shit kicked out of.
Exactly.
I don't forget her name. The main one.
Okoye.
Okoye?
Yeah.
Is the main the general.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's no from any other men anywhere in Wakanda or the world when he says general, they don't go general.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't she a lady? There's never anything like that. It's just, I'm gonna kill everybody.
It's a great fucking example.
Yeah.
So
great.
Yeah.
Well,
And they did great in the show too, Dark Crystal. Exactly with that.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful thing because I noticed that too, where I was like, oh, this is matriarchy, and people like know it, respect it. The Paladins, which is typically a very powerful, revered thing in other fantasy worlds, they're all like, yes, I'm Audra. Like they're all. They bow down and everything like that, and it was very cool. And especially, I love the Stone in the Wood Madra as well. Like she's very, weapons and stuff. But I was like, you guys have this whole furnace where you put your weapons, but what fucking battles have you fought? Because I don't know. Because I don't see you doing
let's
shit.
get back to
Also, it's a terrible furnace.
Gelfling can't fight.
Yeah, I was just like, they're like, the Gelflings are united. I'm like, well, there's a lot of them, but
there's where I was kind of like, you got CGI.
Yeah.
Can't you you were saying when in the Dark Crystal where he's climbing up and you just have a person in the suit.
Yeah.
Just fudge it that way.
Right.
And show me some kick-ass fight scenes.
Right.
If you're gonna write him into the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make it kick-ass.
Well, because I was imagining it. Maybe not all Gelfling are fighters, right? Maybe the Harar, which I always thought was saying, we're going to Harar. I'm like, what did he say? Harar. When Hobbs says it, Harar. I'm like, what? Okay, but or whatever their tribe is. Those are diplomatic, artistic, whatever. They're not the warriors. You've got the seafaring ones. You've got the desert crazies and stuff like
Eddie
that.
Izzard. Wasn't Eddie Izzard
Yes.
the voice of
Oh, was he?
Now his I recognize because when he started being funny, I was just like, oh, it's Eddie Izzard.
But like when, so I imagine like Gelfling in general are quick, right? Agile, very like stabby. Like I was picturing generally in these fantasy worlds, these smaller characters are incredibly dangerous, as like things like goblins, and even you see things like in orcs and like Lord of the Rings, like they're not trivial characters. So for them to be like, oh, the fearsome, Stone and Wood, I was like, oh shit, I can't wait.
Here we go.
And then of course they're like, oh, they all got mind control. I was like, well, fuck, now we're not going to see anything there.
Love the mind control.
I loved it. I felt like we stole a great scene from there, from these guys fighting, because I was like, oh my god, are they going to obliterate this?
Sister's name? You had Brea, you had Celadon.
And it began with a T.
Tesseract.
Typhon. I don't know.
No, but she, like,
right?
How she was spoken of and how the commanding voice she had, I'm just like, she's going to be a badass fighter.
And then they do, because the thing too is like,
they couldn't show him fighting too much because they can't. You know what I would have liked?
Yeah.
There's been a couple times, and now I cannot think of them for the life of me, but where it's like, oh, they're getting it's been a really cool movie, and then they're getting into fighting, and they almost drop into a different viewpoint or now they drop into a different type of animation or different whatever.
Yeah.
And let's have fight scenes be like this, so that they could be CGI, so it could look badass.
Yeah.
And then you can jump back out of it. I would have been okay if that was what they used for those moments.
Yeah, me too. Like, cause I didn't mind some of the stuff like with the Hunter doing CG because I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty crazy the way he's moving and stuff like that. But then when he comes back to live action, still more movable than we're used to, but it's still like not as fluid or as flexible. There's also really long shots too, when he's like climbing on the trees. I'm like, we get it, he's agile. But
even if they jumped to human beings with wire work and stuff, I would have been just something, you know?
Yeah.
Instead of kink, kink, kink.
Yeah.
Kink, kink,
Like,
kink,
there wasn't a sense of danger in a lot of way of like when they were fighting, because like you said, Rian loses his fucking sword all the time.
God, it was such
Brienne stabs the general.
Right?
At some point.
And also that blade.
And I'm like, how did that happen?
Right
General's
at the
got
end.
4 swords coming down on him, and Brienne's like, boop.
And but then like he peels away. It looks like it's absorbing some of his essence or something when he.
It was going. Yeah, it was like going back
because
into
of the
crystal.
shard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. But the dual blade was like completely. I know I was about finding the shard at
It
the
wasn't
end.
the dual blade, right?
Dual glaive.
Dual glaive. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
dual glaive,
guys.
yeah.
My apologies. My apologies.
Or as Doug aptly said, it was the double sword from Halo.
Halo is not a thing that I know.
That was a funny
I know
reference.
it's a thing, but
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
We'll take it as a funny reference. But it was like,
You guys are the best.
oh,
These guys.
video games. But it was like one of those things. Like obviously, the ultimate thing was it was the shard that was in there that was so powerful or whatever. But like, it was just a kind of a MacGuffin for a little bit. Like we get the duel, and then he gets it. I'm like, you don't do anything cool with it.
Right.
Yeah.
He almost has it knocked out of his fucking hand.
Yeah. I was just like,
Kinda.
What a prick.
Then it gets stepped on and
Yeah.
broken, and what?
Yeah.
And he's like,
There's so we talked about you could go into like animation, or you could go into like people doing wire work or things like that.
If they had introduced when we go into fight,
Yes.
when we go to fight,
Yeah.
here's what it's going to look like.
Right.
Probably would have been jarring for that first or second time, but then I would have been like, oh yeah, this is what they're doing.
We've established this as
Yep,
a rule.
we've established
Yeah,
this,
exactly.
yeah.
There's a different type of fight scene that they could have done, that they could have kind of gone into, that I think would have been really cool. And there's a term in film for it, and I can't remember. Do you remember what it's called?
it's called a throwdown.
You're welcome.
You remember that, do you?
I do. But you guys worked real hard to make that shit happen.
Justin will grab onto that moment, and he sees it.
I
and
also
always
remember that
appreciate
when you wanted to get into the throwdown, I stopped you and I said I still have something else to say, and I'm going to do it again. So this is what you have to deal with when you got Tim Soszko on the thing. You got short cord and you got Tim Soszko. Okay. I similarly to Star Wars, where there's the prophecy that Anakin Skywalker is going to bring balance to the Force.
I just want to say I hate prophecies in stories. I just think they're garbage. But continue.
I love this one though, because what it is, it's the long game. Thra is playing the long game. It's like, we're going to get down to absolutely nothing. The Skeksis are going to take over. It's going to get until these 2 last Gelfling heal the Dark Crystal, or heal the crystal, and start to bring life back to Thra. I'm like, that is and that must be what Aughra saw when she finally reconnected with Thra again and her third eye opened.
Yeah.
It's not so dorky saying it, but who gives a shit?
You gotta say it nerdy though. When Aughra reconnected with Thra and saw the future, and the Gelfling defeated the Skeksis, and you're like, okay, nerd, shut the fuck up.
I was getting jitters when she's fucking talking to a tree,
right?
Like it's
or
so
doing her dance
cool.
and getting. She's like da da, and she was like finding the rhythm again. And I was like, oh shit,
the Song of Thra, which I totally bought because I'm just like, there's so much musicality throughout the rest of the world there. Yeah. They don't touch that a lot in the documentary, which I'm like, meh. And that's, they're playing the long game to be able to get to this thing where it's going to be healed. The crystal reabsorbs the beings come out, and then they get Skeksis and Mystic form back together. Then they get reabsorbed by the crystal, and now a new life on Thra begins. And I'm like, shit, that was thousands and thousands of trying.
Yeah. Thank you for using trying.
Finally.
Yeah.
Trying the
This
word,
entire time,
the
Tim.
word getting what it deserves. Finally,
Throw down?
we can keep going. I don't care. Doug's the one who has to catch a train.
Not tonight.
Oh, shit.
I mean, I do, but I'm totally prepared to take.
Oh,
where do you
brilliant.
live?
I'm totally prepared to take a longer,
I
later
love it.
train home. So, because this is special. This is a special one.
Special.
I live out in Downers Grove now, so
Where is that?
that's west.
That's west, but it's on
Before Naperville.
the north side. South side of 290, right?
Yes.
Where precisely?
17.
What?
I was going to tell you my address.
Is it along 294?
It's right off of 355.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, it's that far west. I didn't realize that. Okay,
Super
sorry.
far.
Anyway,
Yes.
Yeah,
any hoodles.
it's the truth.
These are facts.
These are facts.
No, I'm looking at a map because I don't believe you.
Lay that address down one more time.
Wait, where are you from?
Because when they get the rat in the show.
All right, so today's throwdown. Obviously, we're going to pull from Dark Crystal.
We better.
But
You've done the best so far. Well done.
Please. Where your voice sits, you can do the Skeksis. You can do the
I can get
Mystic.
the low
You
and I
can
can
do,
yeah.
there's so many things you can do. We must use you.
But you know what you can do is
You must
Gilbert
get Tim's
Godfrey.
essence.
Do Gilbert Godfrey. God
That's
damn,
true.
That was so good.
Thank you.
Let's have the Chamberlain talk to Gilbert. Be amazing.
Hold on.
No, we don't actually have the.
So I thought we would mix, since the last time you were on, we mixed universes.
Yes, we did.
And so we're going to pull from this universe and we're going to mix from another one. Ooh. Little combo.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the Hunter versus the Predator. Now, Predator stripped down from his alien technology and his cloaking ability.
I don't think that would
So
matter.
all he has is his little blades that come out.
Except for the moment when the Hunter is fighting the Gelfling, which makes the Hunter seem like the weakest motherfucker.
Fair.
Well, he comes back out of those.
Yeah.
Those things eat stone and wood.
Yeah, that was the part I was like, I don't really understand how that was possible, but I guess I'll go with it.
Well, because they are very. What I got from it is they were just realizing that they could fall apart and die. The Skeksis, I mean,
Okay.
and the Mystics, and it's like they probably thought they were immortal up until this point. So I was totally fine when he. Well, not totally fine. I was okay with it when he came back. He was bloodied and near death and everything, but I was kind of okay with it.
Yeah.
Because of that, and I love this, they hung him up in in the main hall, and like he was a trophy, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Oh, they honored him in that way. How fucking so weird.
Yeah, so dark.
But then you just see that little finger
yeah,
twitch.
the little finger move.
But when he
So
comes-
otherworldly that I was
Yeah.
like, I bought into it because I'm like, I know nothing like that, but I'm buying into it because it's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
All right, so because of that, I am totally fine with him saying that he would tear the shit out of the Predator.
Team Hunter all the
Interesting.
way.
Team Hunter all the
Okay.
way. Yeah.
Now Doug was leaning the other way as we were a little earlier.
Well, I was thinking it depends. I was like, obviously, if he has his laser gun, his cloaking ability, that's not fair. So we'll take it because we also do see him in the first movie. He does fight basically hand-to-hand combat against Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
But yes. Oh, but then he's just like, boof.
yeah, because the thing is like he's kind of agile, but again, not.
He's not as agile as the Hunter is before the Hunter fights Gelfling.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and also
Doing all sorts of flippy woos and everything around the trees.
flippy woos.
Yeah.
The Hunter also has 4 arms,
Yes.
so that's an extra.
That's true too. Yeah.
So
I've the most recent Predator movie where there's like Super Predator or something.
There's the big one. Yeah.
that crushes the other
Yeah.
predators. Maybe not that. I haven't seen it, so I don't know how badass that one is.
I watched that scene and that scene alone.
Oh yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Oh okay.
I was like, this movie's not worth my time. I was like, I want to see this one.
I'm
Cool.
thinking more of
Did
the
it.
Predator from the very first Predator
Yeah.
movie. So
yes.
OG Predator.
yeah. So he doesn't seem. I mean, he's obviously quick to some degree based on what we see in that movie. He's pretty strong. So,
Strong, but in every but in that movie, but also every other Predator movie. Well, when he discovers when Schwarzenegger discovers he can bleed.
Yeah.
And he's just like, yep. Skeksis don't really bleed.
That's
fair.
true.
And
That's
they
fair,
also have a mystic. That's another piece of them.
Yeah.
That as long as that mystic is doing all right, chanting its chants and stuff, it'll get hurt, but then its strength will be able to bring the hunter
That's a good fucking point.
back as well.
Well, there's a part in The Dark Crystal, the original movie, where one of the Skeksis dies, and then it also kills the mystic.
The mystic just winks
disappears.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happens in this one too?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
when-
how he dies.
When one dies, so does
he
the
threw
other.
himself off the
Yeah,
Or
arrow
the
guy.
one-
threw
I
himself-
love that part in the original movie
Yeah.
where
Yes.
he gets scratched, and then you go,
Yes.
like the mystic goes
Yeah.
like, this
My
is what's
hand, and then the Skeksis goes, my hand! Like the very next second. He was playing that right before he got here. I'm like,
Yeah.
I couldn't see what was going on. I just heard it. I was like, that's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
just without seeing the visual.
But I was gonna go more towards the Predator, but the fact that he's got 4 arms, like that's
He's forearms. He's very fast.
Yes.
Each one of them has a sword.
Yeah.
He's got 4 swords, right?
And again, we're only going off of what we've seen.
Yeah, of course.
The hunter.
yeah.
Yeah,
But what we've
I
seen
totally
is
might.
impressive.
Now,
Quite.
now again, the Predator could just self-destruct too. But,
He
we
would.
said,
He probably would as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But I think the hunter would get it and
Yeah.
get the fuck away.
Yeah, he's smart because that's what he lives for, right?
It
He
would be-
knows
I don't know if they
control.
would ever ever meet each other.
Ooh.
They would all because you know how
Because they're both hunters.
They're both hunters.
Yeah.
They're both predators. It's that you don't hear them or see them until
Yeah.
they want you to hear them or see them.
That's a very good point too. Yeah.
Yeah, and so they would just be lying in wait for weeks at a time. And then
3 feet from each other.
one of them would like move like that,
Yeah.
and then would get like, gotcha. Like you showed a sign of weakness, you fool.
Yeah.
And probably just get up and leave and be like, I won.
Yeah.
And then the predator would be like, yep, you did win.
That's hilarious.
What did they ever get into at all? What the explosion was when the predator?
Like nuclear or something
Self-destructive.
like that? Or
That's what I thought it was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I saw that the first time. I was like, he's running for a very long time, and that explosion still, or whatever that shockwave, whatever it was, still hits him and tears him up even worse than he was before.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That's a good. I don't
Is that
know.
explosion?
I don't know if they ever do it. Like,
they ever
fully
get into
address
that?
that.
No. The
Doug?
80s, man. The 80s didn't explain shit. You know?
Shit.
I mean, that's the same movie where 2 guys see each other and they're like, whoosh, and it's a close up of their sweaty biceps. You son of a bitch. I was making a training video about how our 2 teams need to collaborate, and I pulled that scene and put it in the video where it's like, these 2 teams need to collaborate. It's like, ha! That video never saw the light of day. But point being, I was like, it makes sense.
Although that was kind of great to see, like, look at all these strong, tough men, each getting the shit kicked out of them.
Right?
Very true.
By this thing. That
Yeah,
they-
you couldn't have had any more macho men in that movie. I mean, you had Jesse Ventura. You
Yeah.
had Carl Weathers. You had-
Jesse, the Body Ventura.
I'm sorry, the body.
Thank you.
Governor
Schwartz,
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Governor Jesse the Mind Ventura. That's what he turned into when he. You didn't know that?
Did he really
He
change
changed
that?
his nickname to the
I
Mind
hate everything
Ventura.
about that. Yeah.
Well, there's not much to like about him these days. He's kind of lost it.
Yeah, but no, there's that to love about it.
You can love and hate at the same time.
That is so fucking funny.
So I think I'm going to go with the Hunter.
So we're doing the Hunter.
Yeah.
The Hunter for the win.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you put music to this later on?
Absolutely not.
Nope, that was it. We'll have the song of Thra playing throughout that. It'll be great. Yes. So good. That was so much fun, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us.
Did it end that abruptly too?
Well, I mean, we're going to do some plugs and stuff like that, but, it's, yeah, I know.
Oh no, this was fantastic. My parking thing just came up. That's why I was looking at my.
that's fair.
My
That's
thing.
Do you need to?
No.
take
It's
that?
fine. It's still it's a 5-minute warning.
Oh, cool.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
I was so excited because that was one of my first thoughts when I saw the trailer was, if there's anybody I can nerd out with this, it's
always
gonna be
us.
these guys.
I love
yeah.
it.
That's so much fun. And I want to thank you because I had no interest in watching this, and I'm so glad that I did.
Oh,
so
great.
it turned out to
Great.
be very, very enjoyable. And I was like, that was really cool. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So, Tim, How can people find you if you want them to find you? What do you got going on?
I don't know.
Do you have anything to promote, or is there something you would just recommend to our folks? Any shows
Come
or
and see the
books?
Deltones at
Yes.
IO. It's a musical improv group every Saturday at 8 p.m. I'm not always there. I play about like twice a month or so, 3 times a month, depending on if there's a blue moon. You guys know what a blue moon is?
Nope.
Beer?
No.
Okay.
Like, for real, what a blue moon is.
Isn't it every 2 weeks?
No.
Nope.
It means there's a
fortnight, so-
full moon in 1 month. In
yes.
one calendar month, there are 2 full moons.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a blue moon.
How about that?
Which is why they say once in a blue moon, because it doesn't happen very often. Shut
That's
the
a
fuck up,
good
you guys.
story. I love it.
I could keep
Not a
guessing.
story. It's
I love
fact.
that's such a good story.
It is astronomical fact.
You should write that down and tell your grandkids someday about that story.
You piece of shit.
Yeah, just like the Earth is flat, right?
That's our next
Yes.
podcast.
We've been meaning to talk about that.
I am gonna keep pitching you guys shit to
And-
watch and come in and
Yes.
be a podcast with.
We want it. Yes.
But that is what I'm doing. If you are a person with a company and you're just like, man, I want some training to make people work together better as a group, you can contact me on my Facebook page, I guess, which is Tim Soszko, spelled Soszko. Yeah, that's it. I don't. I have a family.
Nice.
I don't care. Is there anything that I'm like, oh, people should watch this or see this?
Anything they should read, watch, see? Anything you got?
No, I would have thought about it had I
It's totally
known
cool.
that this was going to be a thing.
Well, you think about it.
Thank you guys for fucking telling me ahead of time.
Thanks for listening to our show ahead of time. That's cool. Justin, what do you got going on?
I will.
Fucking, that was the best. That was great.
I will strongly recommend go check. It's a Netflix series called The Dark Crystal: Age of Resistance. Go check that out. It's very, very good. And as always, go check out Schitt's Creek because it is one of the best TV shows out there right now.
Really?
It is.
I've seen like the first couple episodes, but I wasn't able to get into it.
So, and I say this to people, and it is the worst plug for the show ever. But if people listen to it and listen to what I'm saying and do it, every one of them has been like, "You were right." You have to get through the first season.
Can you start? Okay, because this is what I tell people about
Yes.
Parks and Rec. Start when, what's his name, Chris and Ben, when
When they get the Adam, yes,
Adam Scott and
Rob Lowe,
Hanselman.
yes,
Handsome.
Jim Hanselman,
cut
yeah.
lines.
Yep.
Start when they get it there.
Yeah.
That is when you start, and then you can watch that. And then when you're hooked, go back and watch the first season and a half.
Sure.
And you'll appreciate it so much more because they found their rhythm and they found like how fucking great they were at that
Right,
point.
and you can see this
But
one.
is Schitt's Creek like that, or do you
it's,
need?
It's not, because the thing is, like, as far as from a storytelling and character building standpoint,
You need
the
it.
story arcs are so well done.
Yeah.
Like you can see where they're like, you're watching, you're like, these people aren't fun to watch, and then by the end, you are openly crying because of like what they're doing,
What
and
they're
like
going
you're so
through.
happy for them. It's and the few other things to get you hooked is that. One of the coolest things is that Dan Levy, who is Eugene Levy's son, created the show.
And he's in it, yeah.
and he's in it and everything. One of the big things he wanted to do is he's like, I wanted to make a town where there was gay characters and no one questioned it.
Yep.
There's no gay
Oh,
jokes.
kind of the same
There's
way
no-
the shit we were talking about. It's just
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're gay.
Exactly.
Great.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then and it's pansexualism and it's all the things, and everyone's just like, and it's this podunk town, but everyone's like, yeah. And so like I love that fact, and it's
They
just,
exist without calling attention to it.
Exactly.
And that empowers them.
Yeah.
Which is so beautiful.
Yes.
So crazy.
As opposed to every
do it,
other
Tim.
thing.
Do it. What do you mean? Like,
God
explain.
damn it.
Give us an example.
No, that's force feeding you. These are gay people. And they're people too, and they're powerful and strong. And oh God, fuck
just
you.
show me. Yeah. Show,
Yeah.
don't tell. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
That's an improv rule.
So
We learned from the best.
I that's one. When people ask like, oh, comedians and mentors and people you looked up to and stuff. And very often when I'm asked to be like, what about female? When I'm like, oh, Catherine O'Hara. Like, I don't blink at the fact that they think that I don't have role models that are
Absolutely,
female.
yeah.
I'm just like, Catherine O'Hara is the funniest human being that exists.
You will love what she does in the
brilliant.
subsequent seasons.
She's brilliant in
Yeah.
dramatic roles. She's brilliant in comedic roles. She's brilliant in dramatic roles that end up being comedic because of the way she plays them.
Yeah.
She disappears into every character
Some of the stuff she does is so subtle in this, and
Yeah.
it's beautiful.
Yep.
Please keep watching it.
Okay,
Yes.
I will. You know what? I shall do so. I shall.
I'll think about
Another
it.
convert.
I'll think about
And
it.
that's all I got.
Oh, you haven't watched it though?
No, not
Oh,
yet.
okay.
That's just too much. It's too much.
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
read a
way
lot
too
on the
much, yeah.
train now, so I've been reading a lot of stuff.
Right.
Which is
Nice.
because I have eyes and I can do that. Justin,
I'm smart. I read.
read books. I just recently got a game called Borderlands 3 out of a recommendation.
Those of you who can't see it, he
recommendation.
just had a mild stroke.
I reckon it was one of those games like a couple of my friends were playing and they're like, hey, we're going to get this. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll buy it. And I had played all of them. And if you're not familiar with Borderlands, it's an insane world with some really incredible writing. It's bonkers.
Yeah.
So I'm part of the way through it, but there's been some absolutely hilarious moments in it. There's hilarious characters. One of my favorite parts is when we were doing the tutorial. There's this little robot named Claptrap. And Claptrap. And he's ridiculous. He thinks he's more important than what he is and everything. At one point, he's like, all right, guys, it's time to do a stealth mission. He's like, follow me. He's like, do, da-da-da-da, being super stealthy, da-da-da, ho. That was a little too loud, do. And he's like, just like zooming along and everything like that. And it's just that is just the antithesis, or not the antithesis. That's the exact thing that sums up the game in itself. It is so self-aware of what it is and
that's
amazing.
great. I love it.
And crazy and nuts, and like you're killing guys. They're like, you'll never forget my name. My name is as they die.
Good writing.
Tell my kids I wish they were born. Like just because everyone's just crazy. And it was just like I laugh all the time. Like this is bonkers. Chris Hardwick actually plays a character in it, which I was like, that sounds like Chris Hardwick. So Borderlands 3, it's out now. Enjoy. You're welcome.
What are you saying? Borderlands?
Borderlands.
Okay.
I was saying in Missouri like Borderlands.
Oh, no, it actually sounded like Borderlines.
I heard that
for
too,
a second.
actually.
I was just,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, let me enunciate. Borderlands 3.
Lands.
Borderlands. Guys, you can follow us on Twitch. We record our episodes every week. You can follow us on there, chat with us, hang out. We are also on all social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at MindGap Podcast. We also have a YouTube channel. Check us out there. We will put up our Twitch feeds there, along with some previous episodes as well. And Justin exists digitally also.
On Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, check us out on Apple Podcast, on Stitcher, on
Spotify,
and on Google Podcasts, pretty much wherever you can listen to podcasts. Subscribe to us, share us around, rate us, review us, all those things that we love. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then keep your eyes out on all 2east8th's social presences, because things are progressing along with our short, Sid Penrose, and Drew and I have another one in the hopper for this year, and then we're doing our feature next year for sure. So
That's so exciting.
good stuff.
Very cool. Tim, thank you again.
Thank you guys for having me. This is
The
so much
best.
fun.
Justin, thank you.
Doug, thank you.
Twitch, thank you. And we'll see you guys next week.
Mind Gap Podcast.